what if the very place you trust to keep your family safe is quietly putting your health at risk? Picture this. You're standing in front of your open refrigerator, the familiar hum filling the quiet kitchen, scanning the shelves for something to eat. Everything looks normal, organized, safe. But what you can't see is that some of those everyday foods you've been storing for days, maybe weeks, are silently changing in ways that could threaten your life. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most of us over 60 don't want to face. Our bodies aren't the same as they were 20 years ago. We can't fight off toxins and harmful bacteria the way we used to. Yet we continue the same food habits, trusting that if something looks fine and smells okay, it must be safe. Meanwhile, 5 common foods sitting in refrigerators across America are quietly becoming health hazards, especially for those of us who've earned our wisdom through decades of living. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which 5 foods these are, why they become dangerous over time, and most importantly, how simple changes can protect you and extend your healthy years. Because the difference between a fridge that nourishes you and one that harms you often comes down to knowledge most people never learn. Food number 1. Smoked and processed meats. Can you smell it right now? That rich, smoky aroma of bacon sizzling in the pan on a Sunday morning? Or the way ham fills the house during the holidays? These foods aren't just ingredients to us. They're woven into our most precious memories. The bacon your grandmother cooked when you visited as a child. The Christmas ham that brought the whole family together. The sausages at summer cookouts when the grandkids ran around the yard. These foods represent love, tradition, comfort. And that's exactly why what I'm about to tell you is so hard to accept. Right now, in your refrigerator, those beloved processed meats might be quietly changing in ways you can't see, smell, or taste. Every day they sit there, chemical reactions are happening inside those packages. The preservatives that were supposed to keep them safe are slowly forming new compounds called nitrosamines. These substances didn't exist when you first brought that food home, but time and the cold, humid environment of your fridge create them, molecule by molecule. The bacon still looks the same. The ham still smells fine. The sausages show no signs of spoilage, but inside, something dangerous is growing. Here's what breaks my heart about this situation. At our age, our bodies just aren't the warriors they used to be. When we were 30 or 40, our immune systems could fight off almost anything. Our cells could repair damage quickly. But after 60, everything changes. Our natural defenses weaken. Our ability to process toxins slows down. What might have been harmless to us decades ago can now become a serious threat. And nitrosamines, the compounds forming in those processed meats, have been linked to cancer. Not just any cancer, but specifically the kinds that affect our digestive systems, the very places where these foods go first. Let me tell you about Harold. He's 72, a retired teacher who loves his Saturday morning routine of eggs, bacon, and toast while reading the newspaper. Harold used to buy those big packages of bacon and sausages from the warehouse store. He'd keep them in his fridge for weeks, sometimes a month, using a few slices here and there. He thought he was being smart, buying in bulk, saving money. The bacon always looked fine to him. Never once did it cross his mind that with each passing day, those strips were becoming more dangerous. It wasn't until his annual checkup, when his doctor asked about his diet, that Harold learned the truth. Those weeks of storage were turning his comfort food into a health risk he couldn't even detect. The solution isn't to give up these foods forever if they mean something to you. It's about changing how we think about time and safety. When you buy processed meats now, think small. Buy only what you'll use within 3 to 5 days. If you find a great deal on a larger package, divide it up the moment you get home. Take out what you'll use this week and freeze the rest in meal-sized portions. When you need more, thaw only what you'll eat within a day or two. And always thaw it in the refrigerator, never on the counter. Cook it thoroughly. But remember that cooking can't undo all the chemical changes that time creates. I know this feels like losing a piece of comfort, a connection to simpler times. But think of it this way. By making these small changes, you're protecting the very body that holds all those beautiful memories. You're ensuring you'll be here to create new ones. And that Sunday morning bacon can still happen. It just needs to be fresher, safer, and chosen with the wisdom that comes from truly understanding what we're putting into the bodies we've spent a lifetime learning to treasure. Food number 2. Cooked rice stored in the fridge. Rice seems so innocent, doesn't it? It's been feeding families for thousands of years. It's simple, reliable, the foundation of so many meals we love. When you cook a big pot of rice, you feel practical, prepared, maybe even a little proud of your efficiency. You portion it into containers, slide them into the fridge, and feel good knowing you've got meals ready for the week ahead. But what if I told you that this simple grain, sitting quietly in your refrigerator, could be secretly turning into one of the most dangerous foods in your kitchen? Here's what most people don't know about rice. Something that would change how you store it forever if you truly understood it. Raw rice grains naturally contain tiny spores of bacteria called Bacillus cereus. These spores are like sleeping soldiers, waiting for the right conditions to wake up and multiply. When you cook rice, the heat doesn't kill these spores. It just makes them dormant for a while. But if that cooked rice doesn't cool down quickly enough, if it sits at room temperature for too long, or if it's stored improperly in the fridge, those spores wake up and start producing toxins. These aren't toxins that cooking can destroy later. Once they're there for good. Picture this. You're 75 years old, and your body doesn't bounce back from illness the way it used to. Food poisoning that might have made you uncomfortable for a day when you were younger could now land you in the hospital. Your immune system, worn down by decades of life, can't fight off bacterial infections with the same strength. Your kidneys and liver, working hard after all these years, struggle to process toxins efficiently. That leftover rice that's been sitting in your fridge for 5 days isn't just a simple side dish anymore. It's a potential threat to your health, your independence, your peace of mind. Patricia learned this the hard way. She's 68, a careful woman who prides herself on never wasting food. Every Sunday, she'd cook a large pot of rice to last the week. She'd let it cool on the stove while she cleaned up dinner, then refrigerate it in one big container. Throughout the week, she'd take out portions and reheat them. The rice always looked fine, smelled normal, tasted just like it should. But one Wednesday evening, after eating rice that had been in her fridge for 6 days, Patricia became violently ill. The stomach cramps were unbearable. The nausea wouldn't stop. By morning, her daughter had to rush her to the emergency room. The doctors confirmed it was food poisoning, most likely from improperly stored rice. Patricia spent 3 days in the hospital, weak and frightened, wondering how something so simple had gone so wrong. The truth is, rice needs to be treated with the same respect you'd give meat or dairy. The moment it finishes cooking, your race against time begins. You need to cool it quickly, not gradually. Spread it in a thin layer on a baking sheet, or divide it into small, shallow containers so the heat escapes fast. Get it into the refrigerator within 2 hours of cooking, and that's being generous. Once it's refrigerated, you have 1 to 2 days to eat it safely, not a week. After 48 hours, even if it looks perfect, move it to the freezer or throw it away. When you reheat it, make it steaming hot throughout, not just warm, and never, ever reheat the same portion more than once. This might sound like a lot of rules for something as simple as rice, but think about what you're protecting. You're safeguarding the health that lets you live independently, that keeps you strong enough to enjoy your grandchildren, that allows you to wake up each morning feeling secure in your own body. That big pot of rice can still be part of your routine. Just make it your ally, not your enemy, by treating it with the wisdom and caution it deserves. Food number 3. Soft cheeses prone to mold. There's something almost magical about soft cheeses, isn't there? The way a piece of warm brie melts on a cracker, the complex flavors of a well-aged camembert, the bold character of blue cheese that transforms a simple salad into something elegant. These aren't just foods. They're small luxuries, reminders of special dinners, anniversary celebrations, quiet evenings when you decided to treat yourself to something extraordinary. But that same quality that makes these cheeses so wonderful, their soft, moist texture, is exactly what makes them so dangerous when they've been sitting in your refrigerator too long. Unlike the hard cheeses you might remember from your childhood, these soft varieties are like sponges for bacteria and mold. Their high moisture content creates the perfect environment for microorganisms to grow and spread, even in the cold of your refrigerator. And here's the terrifying part. Much of this growth happens invisibly, deep inside the cheese where you can't see it. While the outside might look perfectly normal, the inside could be teeming with harmful bacteria like Listeria, a particularly dangerous organism that doesn't care how cold your fridge is. It keeps growing, keeps multiplying, keeps producing toxins that can make you seriously ill. For those of us over 60, Listeria isn't just an inconvenience, it's a genuine threat to our lives. Statistics show that adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to develop listeriosis than younger people, and when we do get it, the consequences are far more severe. What might cause mild flu-like symptoms in a 30-year-old can cause meningitis, blood infections, or worse in someone our age. Our immune systems, weakened by time and the natural aging process, simply can't mount the same defense they once could. That beautiful piece of brie that's been in your cheese drawer for 3 weeks isn't just past its prime. It could be actively dangerous. Harold found this out when he was 74. He'd always been a cheese lover, the kind of man who knew the difference between a good camembert and a great one. He'd buy a wheel of brie for special occasions and make it last, savoring small pieces over several weeks. He kept it carefully wrapped, stored in the proper part of the refrigerator, and it always looked fine to him. The rind was supposed to be white and soft. The inside was supposed to be creamy. How was he supposed to know that dangerous bacteria were growing invisibly throughout the cheese? When Harold finally got sick, it hit him hard. The fever, the chills, the complete exhaustion that left him bedridden for days. His doctor explained that the Listeria had likely been building up in that cheese for weeks, growing stronger while Harold remained completely unaware. The solution doesn't mean giving up these culinary pleasures entirely, but it does mean approaching them differently. Buy soft cheeses in small amounts, only what you can finish within 7 to 10 days. Store them properly, wrapped in parchment or wax paper rather than plastic, then placed inside a sealed container to prevent contamination while still allowing the cheese to breathe. Keep them in the coldest part of your refrigerator, not in the door where temperatures fluctuate. Check them regularly, and at the first sign of any mold that shouldn't be there, any off smell, any change in texture, throw the entire piece away. Don't try to cut around the bad parts. In soft cheese, contamination spreads invisibly throughout the entire piece. Consider making hard cheeses your primary choice. Aged, cheddar, Parmesan, Gouda, these varieties are naturally more resistant to harmful bacteria because of their lower moisture content and aging process. They can satisfy that same desire for rich, complex flavors while being much safer for long-term storage. When you do choose soft cheeses, think of them as fresh flowers, beautiful but temporary, meant to be enjoyed quickly and completely. This way, you can still have those moments of culinary joy, those small celebrations that make life richer, while protecting the health that allows you to enjoy them. Food number 4, nitrate, preserved, cold cuts. Walk into any deli, and you'll see them lined up like old friends behind the glass. Sliced turkey, honey, ham, salami, roast beef, all perfectly arranged and ready to make your life easier. For many of us, these cold cuts represent convenience in its purest form. A quick sandwich when you don't feel like cooking. An easy lunch that doesn't require planning. A simple solution for those days when energy is low but hunger is real. But what you see in that deli case, fresh and appealing, isn't what you have after those packages sit opened in your refrigerator for weeks. The moment you open that package of sliced deli meat, the clock starts ticking in ways most people never realize. Those preservatives that kept the meat safe in its original packaging, the nitrates and nitrites that prevented spoilage during shipping and storage, don't just stop working. They keep changing, combining with other compounds, reacting with air and moisture to form new substances called nitrosamines. These aren't preservatives anymore. They're potential carcinogens, building up day by day in meat that still looks fresh, still smells fine, still seems perfectly safe to eat. Here's what makes this especially dangerous for those of us over 60. Our bodies process these compounds differently than they did when we were younger. Our livers work harder to filter toxins. Our kidneys struggle more to eliminate waste. Our cardiovascular systems, already dealing with the natural changes that come with age, face additional stress from the high sodium content in these processed meats. That innocent-looking turkey sandwich isn't just a quick lunch anymore. If that turkey has been opened and sitting in your fridge for 2 weeks, it could be contributing to problems you won't even notice until they become serious. Marjorie discovered this at 78. She'd been buying those family-size packages of sliced ham and turkey from the deli counter, thinking she was being economical. She'd keep them in her refrigerator for up to a month, making sandwiches whenever she needed a quick meal. The meat never smelled bad, never looked spoiled, never gave her any reason to think it wasn't safe. She trusted the expiration dates on the packages, not understanding that those dates applied to unopened packages, not meat that had been exposed to air for weeks. It wasn't until her doctor started asking detailed questions about her diet, concerned about some blood work results, that Marjorie learned the truth about how quickly open deli meats become unsafe. The key to enjoying these convenient foods safely lies in understanding time limits and proper storage. When you buy cold cuts, think in terms of days, not weeks. Freshly sliced meat from the deli counter should be consumed within 3 to 5 days maximum. Don't store packages in the refrigerator door where temperatures fluctuate. Keep them in the coldest part of your fridge, sealed tightly in airtight containers or wrapped carefully to prevent air exposure. Write the opening date on every package because memory isn't always reliable, and what feels like a few days might actually be a week or more. Consider alternatives that give you the same convenience with better safety. Roast a small chicken breast or beef roast on Sunday and slice it yourself for the week's sandwiches. Look for nitrate-free options when they're available, though remember these still have limited safe storage times once opened. Buy smaller packages more frequently rather than large ones that tempt you to keep them too long. And when in doubt, throw it out. No sandwich is worth risking your health, your independence, or your peace of mind. These small changes in how you buy, store, and consume cold cuts can let you keep the convenience you need while protecting the body that's carried you through decades of life and deserves your careful attention now. Food number 5. Artificially colored pickled foods. Remember when pickled foods meant something special? Those bright red pickled eggs at the corner store, the vibrant green pickles that made your mouth water just looking at them, the colorful pickled vegetables that turned ordinary meals into celebrations. These foods connect us to memories of family gatherings, summer picnics, and holiday spreads where those jewel-bright jars added color and flavor to the table. The vivid colors made them seem fresh, festive, almost magical. But those same artificial colors that make pickled foods so visually appealing are exactly what makes them potentially dangerous when they've been sitting in your refrigerator for months. Here's what most people don't understand about pickled foods in time. Yes, the vinegar stops harmful bacteria from growing, which is why these foods can last so long without spoiling in the traditional sense. But vinegar doesn't stop chemistry. Those bright synthetic dyes, the yellow 5, red 40, and blue 1 that create those eye-catching colors, continue to break down and change even in the acidic environment of the brine. As they degrade, they can form compounds that weren't there when you first opened the jar. Even more concerning, preservatives like sodium benzoate, common in many commercial pickled products, can combine with naturally occurring vitamin C in the vegetables to create benzene, a known carcinogen. This process happens slowly, invisibly, while the food looks exactly the same as the day you bought it. The older we get, the more these hidden chemical changes matter. Our bodies, after decades of filtering toxins and processing additives, aren't as resilient as they once were. Our liver and kidneys work harder to eliminate harmful substances. Our cellular repair mechanisms slow down, making us more vulnerable to damage from compounds that might have been harmless to us when we were younger. That jar of bright red pickled beets that's been sitting in your refrigerator for 6 months isn't just past its prime. It could be accumulating substances that pose real risks to your long-term health. Walter learned about this risk at 81. He'd always loved pickled eggs, especially the bright red ones that reminded him of the tavern his father used to take him to as a boy. Walter would buy large jars and make them last for months, enjoying 1 or 2 eggs at a time with his evening beer. The eggs always looked the same to him, floating in that bright red brine, never showing any signs of spoilage. He believed the vinegar kept them perfectly preserved indefinitely. It never occurred to him that those vivid artificial colors were slowly breaking down, that the preservatives were potentially forming harmful compounds. That time was changing the chemistry of his beloved snack in ways he couldn't see or taste. Only when his doctor started asking about his diet, concerned about some test results, did Walter discover that even pickled foods have safe time limits. The solution isn't to eliminate these foods entirely, but to approach them with new wisdom. Look for naturally colored pickled products whenever possible. Pickles colored with turmeric, beets colored with their own natural pigments, vegetables that get their color from paprika or other natural sources. These products avoid the synthetic dyes that break down into potentially harmful compounds over time. When you do buy artificially colored pickled foods, treat them like fresh produce with longer shelf lives, not like canned goods that last forever. Consume them within 2 to 4 weeks after opening, regardless of what the jar looks like. Label your jars with opening dates because time passes faster than we think. Store them in the coldest part of your refrigerator to slow down chemical reactions. Consider making your own pickled vegetables at home using natural coloring methods. It's easier than you might think, and you have complete control over what goes into them. But whether you buy or make your pickled foods, remember that the goal isn't to live in fear of what you eat, but to eat with the wisdom that comes from understanding how time and chemistry work together. Those colorful, festive foods can still be part of your life. They just need to be enjoyed more quickly, more consciously, with the respect that comes from knowing that even preserved foods have their limits, and that taking care of ourselves means paying attention to details that matter more now than they ever did before. Your refrigerator has been with you through countless meals, celebrations, and quiet evenings. It holds the foods that nourish your body and comfort your soul. But today, we've discovered something important together. That familiar appliance can be your greatest ally in staying healthy and strong, or it can quietly work against you without you ever knowing. The 5 foods we talked about today don't have to disappear from your life forever. You don't have to give up the bacon that makes Sunday morning special, or the soft cheese that turns an ordinary evening into something elegant. You just need to treat them with new respect, new awareness, new wisdom. Buy smaller amounts. Use them sooner. Trust your knowledge, not just your habits. This isn't about living in fear. It's about living with power. The power that comes from understanding your body's needs at this stage of life. The power to make choices that honor both your health and your happiness. Every time you open that refrigerator door now, you're armed with information that can protect you and the people you love. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves your attention, your care, your respect. These small changes in how you store and consume food aren't restrictions. They're acts of self-love. They're investments in more mornings with your coffee, more dinners with family, more years of independence and joy. Which of these 5 foods surprised you the most today? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this information opened your eyes the way I hope it did, please share this video with someone you care about. Knowledge like this is meant to be passed along. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.